Diners, the ancestor of America's eating-out culture. Before fast food became an industry, Americans learned how to eat outside the home through diners. These establishments emerged in the late 19th and early 20th centuries as practical, affordable spaces designed to serve everyday people quickly and reliably. At a time when restaurants were often formal, expensive, and socially exclusive, these eating spaces offered something radically different: simple food, predictable service, and familiar routines. Instead of focusing on luxury or experimentation, this business model centered on access, habit, and dependability, qualities that would later shape American eating culture. The earliest diners did not begin as permanent buildings. Their direct ancestor was the lunch wagon, the forerunner of today's food trucks, a horse-drawn mobile food cart introduced in the late 1800s to serve factory workers, railroad employees, and night shift laborers. These portable food operations provided hot meals at hours when traditional sit-down restaurants were closed. As demand increased and cities introduced greater regulatory oversight, mobility gradually gave way to permanence. Many early diners were created by repurposing old railroad cars, which were inexpensive, durable, and easy to transport. Their narrow structure encouraged long counters and compact open kitchens, reinforcing efficiency and allowing customers to observe food preparation, an important trust-building feature at a time when food safety was widely questioned. As diners spread across cities and towns, they developed a recognizable identity. This period, often referred to as the diner boom, unfolded during the early to mid-20th century, when these venues multiplied along busy streets and emerging highways. Menus were deliberately limited and centered on foods that could be prepared quickly and consistently. Breakfast became a defining feature, often served all day, alongside burgers, sandwiches, fries, coffee, and soda. These places also helped normalize the habit of ordering food in sets, such as a burger with fries or eggs with toast and coffee, long before the word combo existed or meals were formally bundled and priced that way. Diners were deeply connected to mobility and modern life. As automobiles became widespread and road trips increased, they turned into reliable stopping points for travelers seeking familiar food in unfamiliar places. While diners were not always open 24/7, many became known for extended hours, serving late-night and overnight workers, drivers, and students when other conventional restaurants were closed, an important factor in their reputation as inclusive spaces. Over time, interiors evolved as well. While early versions relied primarily on counters and stools, later designs introduced booths, offering greater comfort and privacy as families and longer stays became more common. These changes reflected shifting social habits rather than sudden innovation. From a business perspective, this dining model quietly influenced expectations that would later define large-scale food service. It demonstrated that speed, affordability, routine, and limited menus could attract broad audiences. Just as importantly, it trained patrons to value reliability over novelty when eating away from home. By standardizing everyday meals and making them accessible to a broader audience, diners helped transform eating out from an occasional indulgence into a regular habit. In this sense, this format was not the endpoint of America's food story, but a crucial stage in its evolution, establishing patterns of behavior and expectation that later food systems would refine and expand. Fun fact: why diners were built like trains. One reason diners have such a distinct look is that many were prefabricated, almost like train cars. Beginning in the early 20th century, specialized companies, most famously the Jerry O'Mahony Diner Company of New Jersey, produced these structures in factories and shipped them across the country by rail or truck. Their long, narrow shape, stainless steel or chrome exteriors, rounded corners, and rooftop signs were not just stylistic choices but practical ones, inspired by railroad cars and industrial design. For many Americans, this layout also echoed the experience of train dining cars, subtly reinforcing trust and familiarity at a time when eating outside the home was still a developing habit. If the exterior of a diner represented the logic of a train car, the interior was designed to create comfort, familiarity, and lasting impressions. Inside, classic features included patterned tile floors, wood paneling, vinyl booths, mirrors, decorative lighting, jukeboxes, neon signage, and the presence of counter stools and pie displays. Walls were often decorated with carefully curated memorabilia, such as vintage advertisements, clocks, license plates, vinyl records, and photographs celebrating cars, trains, music, and everyday American life. Remarkably, some units could even be returned to the factory for updates or refurbishment. While large-scale manufacturing later declined, a small number of original diner cars were sent abroad as novelty venues, turning them into nostalgia-driven symbols of American culture rather than everyday eating spaces.